How's it going, everybody? I'm Driftwood. This is an RPG Maker MV tutorial for Tutorial Tuesdays. This is going to be a class spotlight for the Thief from Final Fantasy XI inside of RPG Maker MV. And this is going to be a somewhat easier class to make than some of the previous ones because he doesn't have a list of 50,000 spells. He's got, a dozen or so abilities, and that's pretty much it. You have to make some skills, some states. Not too hard to make the Thief. So let's take a look at his normal attack. The Thief is going to get an extra attack default. He's going to get an extra dagger attack. Keep in mind, the Thief right now is level 99, so that's sort of like near max level. Well, the max level is 1k, but I don't expect anyone to get past that. Past 99. But anyway, that's our basic attack. We're using Yanfly's Weapon Unleash plugin, as well as some other plugins to make everything work right. But anyway, he's going to have several limit bursts at like Twin Slash, but not all these other ones. He's going to have other ones depending on what weapons they're using, what special gear they've equipped, and a lot of the damage from the Thief is going to come from those limit bursts, the 100 TP move. But let's look at the Thief class abilities. So we've got our long, most of our abilities will be instants, but we've got some of them have very long cooldowns and some of them have very short cooldowns. This is going to have a very long cooldown, perfect dodge. It's going to increase your evasion, your magic evasion, your critical evasion, and your speed by quite a bit, doubling everything but 30% to your speed, which is your agility, which affects how many turns you get. So it's a really, really good buff. A lot stronger than the Final Fantasy XI version of this, which only gives you physical evasion, because I've buffed all of their hour abilities, right? So let's take a look at that. Some cast animations on that, and also an SV state that needs to be resized. SV animation, it's another plugin you can add if you want. It's way too big right now. That's an easy fix. Just tween everything and batch and then tween. So the next thing we've got is steal. When you add the Thief to your game, you have to add some note tags to all of your enemies to determine what you're going to be able to get from those enemies. Not a big hard process. Most games will just add potions. Maybe every now and then a Phoenix Down type resurrection item. But I plan to take this a step further and give different rates on getting different things. I've decided to not use the snatch part of the Steel Snatch plugin, which is this from Yanfly's Steel Snatch plugin, because I want it to work more like Final Fantasy VI, where you have a chance to steal something and you have a chance to get a rare item instead. But it's also got a long cooldown, so it's not going to work exactly like how it is in a lot of other games. You're going to get one chance to steal, but that chance is going to be kind of a higher chance to get even rarer stuff. So you don't spend 5 turns trying to get an item. You use a steal one time. If you get lucky, you get the item, and if you don't, you probably kill it and continue on. Unless you really, really want that item, it drops, and then you're guarding for as many turns to... I might reduce the cooldown on steal. I might also make gear that reduces the cooldown on steal, which is something that can happen. So the next thing we have is sneak attack. Now, sneak attack is going to do a lot of damage, but only if the enemy is distracted. So how do you distract the enemy so that you can, hit them from behind or hit them from, blind side? Well, there's a couple ways in the game. The warrior has an ability called Provoke, which will automatically apply distracted to it. So if the warrior provokes it in your party, then you can just immediately sneak attack, like turn 1. Otherwise, you have to use the Thief ability, Despoil, which will try to steal an item. It's just like the other one we've seen, the steal. But it also does damage and inflicts distracted. So you despoil first with your first attempt, then you can sneak attack for extra damage. We're going to come back to sneak attack after we use despoil. We have flee, which doesn't actually exit the combat. I could make it do that, but I didn't really want it to work that way. So instead I'm giving flee a party buff. I've completely changed this one around, and you're free to use it however you want. You can make this skill call a common event that makes the party leave the battle, which would perfectly make sense, and I get that. But for me, I wanted it to give an evasion bonus, magic evasion bonus, critical evasion bonus, stacking with perfect dodge for 5 turns, but with a little bit less of a cooldown. So you can use it more often, and it just gives a little buff, and it gives it to the whole party, not just the Thief. So the next thing we have is trick attack. It's going to deal bonus damage if the target is inflicted with ambushed. And how you ambush the enemy is you sneak attack them while they are distracted. So it's a combination of things. The warrior can provoke it, then the thief can sneak attack, and then the next turn trick attack. Or the thief can despoil it, then the next turn sneak attack, then the next turn trick attack. And that would give you the most damage. Now, these skills can be used to deal damage without the states being applied. You know, if you just start off with sneak attack instead of distraction, it'll still do a little damage, but it won't do anywhere near what it will do if you follow the patterns. So the pattern goes, get him distracted with either warrior's provoke or the thief's despoil. Probably make other ways to distract the enemy in the future. Then you sneak attack, and then you trick attack. And that will do the most damage. We'll do that at the end. Now we have Mug, which is going to work just like Steal, except it's also going to deal damage. So you get multiple attempts to steal, even though it's a 10-turn cooldown. We are level 99. Even though it's a 10-turn cooldown, you have multiple things. You've got Steal, you've got Mug, you've got Despoil. So essentially every 3 to 4 rounds, you'll be able to get a steal or an attempt at an item, you know. So that's why I made it a 10-turn cooldown, because you've got 3 different abilities that all have their own timers. So the next thing we have is Hide. We're going to enter the shadows and allow your next attack this turn to inflict ambush on your target. So even another way to go straight up to trick attack. If you don't want to do the 2 rounds, despoil and then sneak attack, or you don't have a warrior to provoke and then sneak attack, you can do Hide and then trick attack if you want to. Because doing Hide will inflict ambush on your target, and doing trick attack will deal extra damage if your target is ambushed. So we'll also do that combination at the end. Then we have Collaborator, which is another instant ability with a 10-turn cooldown. Grants extra strength to the party for 5 turns. So all this does, it basically swaps the aggro around in Final Fantasy XI so that you can take some of the aggro off of somebody or give some of the aggro back. The Thief has certain skills like that, but it didn't really work that way in MV, so I had to give them some other bonus. So I've made Collaborator just a DPS buff to the party. Gives extra strength, so everything that uses attack power, strength is attack power in this game. So it's just going to give more damage output for the whole party. Accomplice is going to do the same thing. It works similar to Collaborator, but we're going to have it grant extra speed to the whole party. So in this version, the Thief does a lot of direct damage, has skills that does damage, is going to have access to weapons that have mini limit bursts to do a lot of damage. But they also get some sort of party buffing features to make them even more valuable in a party. So here's the Assassin's Charge, which this is going to do is just give you 2 extra attacks in a round. So let's attack first, and we'll see we've got 1, 2 attacks. So if we were to use our Assassin's Charge ability, which is instant, it's not going to take our turn. We still have our turn. We get 3 attacks. Let's get this other one. 4 attacks. 2, 3, 4. Now, that used to play faster. I don't know what code is just happened to be updated to stop that from playing as fast. You know, it's got a 1 and then a padding weight, and then 2. So I'm working on that. I'm trying to figure out what caused that, because I'd rather have it boom, 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 boom. You know, instead of a slow delay in between. It's unnecessary padding. Okay, the next skill is Feint. Greatly reduce the evasion and magic evasion of your target for 5 turns. So this is something you want to put on a boss right before you're going to execute a combo on him, right? You're going to increase the damage and chance that your abilities land on him. It's straight up a debuff, you know, on a good to... it's your setup. You're reducing the chance that they're going to dodge your stuff. Not really going to help you too much on random mobs, but it will help you a lot on big, strong bosses. If you're fighting something above your level or something, then you can definitely take advantage of their higher level so that you can bring them down to size and take them out. Then we have the Despoil. So let's go ahead and start off with a new set of creatures real quick. I'm just going to kill these guys. This doesn't have its animation playing yet, so it'll just kill it real fast. Same thing with this. There's no animation in the sequence for that one yet. It's just to kill stuff. But it will be big and flashy when it's done, and that's actually a sword skill, not a dagger skill. But okay, so we got a big party, a big group of enemies. Let's start off with We also have Conspirator. Yeah, we can enhance the accuracy of the whole party. So once again, I'm playing into using the Thief as a slightly party buffing kind of utility, so that they have more pull, because some of the other jobs are so awesome with 1,000 spells that I needed to give the Thief some good buffing and party potential. So it not only can it hit many times and deal a lot of damage, but it can also steal items and it can buff the party, making the Thief a very valuable party of choice, because you're gonna have a lot of classes in this game. So, and you can only pick 5 of them. It used to be 6. I made it 5 just to make it a little easier for you to wrap your head around everything. So you're only going to be able to pick 5 out of maybe 20 classes. So I'm trying to make them all competitive and have their own. I want to give some replayability to the game, and it's a good way of doing it by having a lot of classes. So anyway, we'll do Conspirator, up our accuracy, which doesn't actually take the turn, so it still lasts for 5. Oh, that one does. Okay. Wait, Conspirator is supposed to be instant. That's a mistake there. That's supposed to be an instant. I'll add that. Definitely supposed to be an instant, because the rest of them are, and it makes no sense that that one doesn't. Okay. So it also needs a cooldown. So I probably didn't finish that one. Whatever. We'll finish that in the database right now. So let's do a combination. Let's despoil. That's going to apply a state to them. We got an item, and we actually killed them because, well, despoil adds a state, but it also deals damage. So it's really, this is a setup for taking down big mobs. The Thief is great at taking down giant mobs because of its stacking multipliers when you apply states. So sneak attack would deal extra damage if they were distracted, and they would be, but we're going to bypass that. We're going to go to hide and ambush. So basically, ambush, hold up, can I check the status right here? Yeah, so basically, your enemies are considered ambushed if you have the hide state on you. If you're hidden, then you're going to ambush the enemies, is how it sort of works. So let's try trick attack now. Boom. I don't think that's working correctly. I need to take a look at that, because I should have done way more damage than 1,000. Anyway, let's do a sneak attack without any state on it. So even sneak attack did more damage than that, and I don't think that's supposed to be that way. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it for all the skills. Got our basic dagger attack. And we'll finish this fight with the limit burst. Now, the Thief will get many limit bursts. Not many of them have been made yet. So he won't get this one, though. Alright, let's jump in the database and take a look at the Thief and all the skills that he's got. Okay, so we're going to hop over to classes, and we're going to look at the numbers at these. So I'm going to start off by doing this and come back to it at the end if needed. Because I always forget to go through what level you get your skills. So we'll go ahead and look at that real quick. You can pause it here if you've already added skills but you don't know what level you get them. They are set up right there. Feel free to add some of your own custom ones in there to further customize it. We're not using any of the parameter curves. We're using Amplify plugins. Look at any of my other class spotlights to go through all the plugins you need for this to work. I want to keep this one short because some of them go on for a long time. So the experience curve, 15 across the board. It's up to how much experience you're giving your game. The special flags, I'm giving all my classes preserve TP because I like how that mechanic works more than resetting your TP after every battle. Targeting rate, normal. Hit rate, I've reduced a little bit because I'm using a GAL plugin, weapon proficiencies, to add extra accuracy and crit rate through other means. So if you're not using that weapon proficiency plugin, you should probably set this to about 95 or 96 or 97 or something high. Evasion rate, I've pretty much given the Thief a high evasion rate. They have pretty decent accuracy and pretty good evasion, considering, because some classes have 77 base hit rate, because they're going to be getting up to a plus 20 from other things, you know. So the Thief would actually end up with 107 at max weapon skill. So that's pretty good hit rate, 107%, because you have to factor that into the enemy's evasion rate and whatnot, and you're most likely going to hit with the Thief once you've got your weapon skill up. So crit rate as well, Thief's special master at doing critical hits. So crit rate 10%, a lot higher than 3, 4, 5, 6% from a lot of other classes. So the parameters, the traits on the Thief are really high. It's a good class. So what weapons and armor can the Thief use in this game? Well, in your game, you'll set it up to however you want. For me, I'm using dagger, sword, small shield, light armor, general armor. So they can't use the tank armor, and they can't use the mage armor. But they can use light and general armor, small shields, and daggers, and swords, and stuff like that. All classes will get limit burst, which is all your 100 TP moves. And then, of course, the special Thief ability where I'm putting the skill class that's holding all of the skills for the Thief. Giving attack times +1 because they're going to be dual wielding, and I haven't figured out a good method to handle dual wielding, so until I do, I'm giving dual wielding classes just a +1 attack. It's something that I'm really looking at because I don't like how it recently has been slowed down. So I'm thinking about changing the formula so that they don't hit multiple times, but instead they hit once and a little pop-up will say how many hits they got. Sort of like Final Fantasy II style, which is not a really good game, but they had some interesting mechanics. I think that's in that way in Final Fantasy I as well. XP parameters. So we're giving all classes some sort of regeneration by default. So the Thief doesn't have MP, so they don't need any MP regeneration. All classes are going to give a cumulative of 5% per turn, but split up between HP, MP, and TP. Since the Thief has no MP, that leaves more space in HP and TP for regeneration there. So the Thief is going to get a 3% per turn HP regeneration, 2% per turn TP regeneration. Pretty simple. Okay, now for the parameters, I'm using several plugins like I said. Just check the other videos. I'm going to make a playlist for all of these class spotlights. I thought about it. It would be a good idea because this playlist has got like 270 videos on it or whatever for the tutorial videos. So I'm going to split up some of those and maybe take them out of the tutorial ones and put them in their own so you can look at all the class spotlights at once. But anyway, this is going to be determining how much of each stat they have per level by using Yanfly plugins and referencing the level inside all of the stats. So basically starting off, the player's going to have 140 plus 100. They're going to start with 240 right off the top, and then as they level up, they're going to just get 140 extra, 140 extra, 140 extra. And that works the same way for all the classes, and all of the parameters have been split up pretty decently. I feel it's pretty even as far as the stats are concerned. Skill-wise, it'll be forever before I can balance everything out and make sure that no classes are super imba and OP. But right now, all the stats and the parameters are pretty much balanced. So here's the setup I've got. Level times 140 plus 100 on max HP, max MP 0. You can just say 0 or level times 0 because they're not going to get any MP. They don't have any spells that use MP. So yeah, attack is where the strength of the Thief is at. So level times 8 because it's going to determine how much damage they do. They don't get as much HP as a warrior or a monk, so they're going to do more damage. They also don't have as much defense, and they definitely don't have very much magic defense. So Thief, very susceptible to magic damage. You nuke a Thief down, that's how you kill him. So for attack, it's level times 8, defense level times 5, magic attack level times 3, magic defense level times 3. They're not casters either, so very low parameters. But you sacrifice stats here to add to a high attack and decent agility as well. Agility is level times 6, luck is level times 5. You can use luck for a different parameter like charisma or something and determine how you want that. Feel free to change that up. That's pretty much balanced compared to my other ones, but in your game, I don't know how you're balancing it. Doing swap gauge 2 null, that's going to get rid of the MP bar when you see them in battle because you don't need to see that because they don't have any MP. Alright, so the next thing we're doing are learning skills. If you're using other plugins like SRD's skill stat distribution plugins, you can ignore this. This is code that I'm using Yanfly's skill learn system and some lunatic evals to create some sort of system where the player can turn JP into status points, but the cost of doing that gets ever and more expensive to the point where probably take you forever to get one stat upgrade. So right off the bat, it's good to get some JP and dump some JP and get some bonus stats. It's going to let you customize your characters a little bit, but it's really not going to add anything to like the end game. It's going to help you in the beginning more than the end, how that works. Equip slot, more Yanfly plugins. This lets me determine what the character can wear. Now this, keep in mind, is way too many things. I don't recommend using this many things. It becomes really, really hard to balance when you have this much gear available. And it's been a big headache trying to set up a gashapon system with this many pieces of armor. So here's what I've done. Do it with less, I would say. You don't need this much. But for equip slot, we've got a weapon, we've got a limit burst, head, earring, neck, back, chest, waist, hands, ring, legs, feet, and a relic. One time I had another thing. I had accessory. I had another thing called an aura. I had an esper. I had wristbands. Do I still have wristbands? No, I got rid of that as well. I got rid of a lot of things, but trust me, this is still too many things. Then I'm using icon for the class change system that you can pick. It'll be different for your icon set, so that won't matter. But yeah, that's it for the thief class section. Let's go to the skills. Luckily, this is where this is a lot faster than like the red mage, which was going to be next, but I figure this is more timely. My internet went out today and it barely came back up, and I feel like I can get this done. So anyway, a lot quicker before the day passes me by. So the first main skill is perfect dodge. It allows you to dodge all physical attacks, and you've seen it in combat, and I'm putting what the skill is going to be doing inside the description so the player has an idea of how much I'm not just saying allows you to dodge extra physical attacks. I'm saying, look, I'm going to double your evasion, I'm going to double your magic evasion, or this state is going to double your character's critical evasion. So it's a good idea. I recommend doing this inside your skills to give the player more information to know that the perfect dodge, even though it does the same thing as something else, like what was the other one that does the same thing, but anyway, this one right here, flee. So this is going to do the same thing, right? It gains evasion bonus, but you can see that flee is much weaker than perfect dodge. It's about a fifth of the actual output of perfect dodge. So it's good to give the player the status. I recommend adding more to your descriptions. Give how much the state is actually boosting those stats, so the player has more information to work with. And yeah. Anyway, so all that's doing is adding a state. It's setting it in the skill type thief ability. If you don't have this yet, you go to your types. You go right here. You change your maximum, and you add abilities for each class. See how I've got them all segmented like that. Now, recently a plugin came out that simplifies using the same skill in multiple skill classes. I haven't tested that with my setup yet, but that looks to be a way to do like how Cure. I have like 3 copies of Cure, 4 copies of Cure, right? I got one for the Paladin, I got one for the White Mage, one for the Red Mage, and so forth and so on. So using this new plugin that I haven't messed with, the skill types classes or whatever, that might be a better way to go about repeating skills. But like I said, I haven't tested it yet, so I can't say if it's better or not. It probably is. So anyway, we're adding a state, perfect dodge, scope the user battle screen, give everything custom animations, highly recommended, it's not hard. So how you make it an instant was with the Yanfly's plugins, skill cooldowns, and is also another thing I'm doing right there. So you just put instant in a note tag, you put a cooldown with a colon, and then the number of turns. So perfect dodge, 30 turn cooldown. Keep in mind if you're using ATB or CTB system, this number will not exactly hit each round perfectly, because what's happening with ATB and a CTB is it's a tick turn, or it's a tick based battle system, right? So every frame a certain number gets added to a variable, and that counts as a tick, and that keeps scrolling up until it reaches a certain amount, which then triggers the next action and the next person and the next turn order. But how MV's engine is built on, it's built around a turn based structure, not the tick based. So we're using if you're using ATB or CTB, it's really not very balanced as far as, well, I'm not going to say that. It could still be completely balanced if you do it right. The thing is, it's not fully compatible, right? So you can have a lot of hiccups, especially with trying to time things out. So cooldown still sort of works, but it's going to be more of an approximate, depending on how many ticks have gone off, how many frames have passed in combat while someone is not doing an action. That's a lot of extra stuff you probably didn't need to know. But if you're using a turn-based system, default turn-based, this will be perfectly 30 turns. If you're using ATB, CTB, this may be somewhere around 30 turns. Check your parameters if it's not even anywhere near it, and you have to change some numbers around in the plugin. Like I said, they're not officially supported anymore, Yanfly's versions anyway, so don't do bug reports on them unless you want to. I mean, go for it. I'm sure he gets a lot of bug reports anyway, but That's it for that. Moving on to Steel. Okay, so Steel is using a different plugin as well, the Steel Snatch plugin from Yanfly Engine, and all you got to do is put in brackets Steel. Now, that's not the only thing you have to do for the whole setup, but that's all you have to do for the skill. Let's take one quick jump over to the enemies to look at how you would handle what items you get off of them. So, if we look over in the note tags of the enemies, we'll see that I've got Steel item 110, colon, and then a percentage. So this is telling the game that this enemy, when you use a skill that's got Steel on it, it will 50% of the time give you the item 110. So how do you know what item that is? Well, the number is right next to it in the database. So if we go to items, we go to items 110, I think it's a potion. Boom. So 50% of the time when you try to steal, you're going to get a potion. So once you set that up, all you have to do is copy paste that line from one enemy to the next enemy, to the next enemy, and then change the number to reflect what item you want them to steal, and change the percentage chance to determine what's the percentage chance that they actually do steal that item. You can also create gear that increases how much percent chance you have overall, so you can leave it 50% here but make an item like some thief gloves that gives you like plus 20% steal chance. Then it will, even though it says 50, give you a 70% chance to steal the item. Really cool system, and for doing thief, I highly recommend it. Anyway, moving on to the next thing. This one doesn't really do anything besides steal, instant cooldown of 10, and custom animation. Battle screen, scope one enemy under thief abilities. All of these are going to be battle screen and thief abilities. So I'm going to let you know the scope, and they'll also have custom animation. They're all physical attacks as far as I know, and we'll go over it as we see. So in the next one, a little bit more to this one. This is sneak attack, delivers a powerful attack if the enemy is distracted. So you see, I put also the sequence of things that you want to do. You want to distract the enemy, then sneak attack, and then trick attack, and then let you know the cooldown right there. So give the player lots of information right there. No TP, no MP, instant cast, not instant cast on this one as well, because this is actually going to deal some damage. It's like an attack. You don't need this one to just be instant, because it might be a little overpowered if it wasn't instant, because then they would be able to just sneak attack and then also do their double attack. It's up to you if you want to make this instant or not. I took it. The thief I've made him pretty strong, so I took that away. It's not instant. It takes your turn to sneak attack. So we're setting the damage formula, but we're not inputting it here because we're going to have to customize it down here. So we're going to say HP damage, physical attack, or whatever, blunt, piercing, whatever kind of state you're using. I'm just using physical, but I should actually do piercing, multiple elements. I might add that later on. 25% variance, just a little more variance than the actual default 20. And can critical, of course, because I think I'm going to force critical, even if we say no. I think I set it up that way. I haven't looked at it in a while. But what we're going to do is have it remove the state of distracted 100%, because it's going to deal extra damage if the enemy is distracted. And if the enemy is distracted, it deals that extra damage, and it also removes the state of distracted. So it kind of consumes the state to deal the extra damage. So I'm setting the critical rate to 100% at the top. This is the Yanfly's Critical Core plugin. That's going to make sure that even if this says no, it's going to turn it yes. It's going to make this damage deal critical damage no matter what. Then we're setting the damage cap higher. Since I'm using the damage core, the damage cap is 10,000, but with sneak attack, I've raised it to 100,000. So your sneak attack damage is something the thief is going to be good at mowing down giant enemies if you can get that multiplier high enough, because they have certain moves. Not all things will break the damage cap to 100,000, but there will be multiple ways, like arcane magic, like tornado will break it, or flood will break it. Also, sneak attack will break it. So some limit burst will break it. So there will be some ways for each character in the game to break the damage cap and do up to 100,000, but not a very large amount of ways to do that. Sneak attack is the thief's way of doing that. Trick attack might be the same. But what we're going to do is we're going to do inside the damage formula, just set up an evaluation. Make a conditional statement saying if b.isState affected 23, for me 23 is also IT 23 up here is distracted. So if the target is distracted, we're going to say the value is attack times 3 plus agility times 3 plus variable 21. Don't put this unless you know what this is doing. This is adding a variable of dagger skill, which is just a bonus. It's just a bonus thing that's in my game. You don't need this at all. Just make it attack times 3 plus agility times 3, and that's all you need. But I've also added another variable to come into play. So the higher your dagger skill, the more your sneak attack damage is going to do by 50. So it's a big bonus. Then what we're going to do is say b.addState 79. 79 is different, and for me, for you, all that's doing is turning on a state for the next thing. It's setting them up so that Trick Attack will now do more damage. So we've distracted them, and then we've removed Distracted and added Sneak Attack, so they're set up to be ambushed. So they have the ambush state on them because they've been ambushed, so the Trick Attack will take away the ambush and deal extra damage. So we remove Distracted, add Ambushed. Otherwise, we're going to still have it do damage, but very little attack and agility, plus 5 on the dagger skill, minus the def. So also, it doesn't even ignore defense when you don't have the enemy distracted. So pretty weak, actually, when it's very weak when you don't have distraction on the enemy. That's it for the damage formula. 10 of cooldown. Oh, I do have it multiple elements of 15, so it is piercing. I'm also doing equipped, actually not even using that anymore, but I'm leaving it there because it's not going to harm the game. So this is for if you're using like equipped skills, you can have this skill give you extra stats and stuff, but I'm not using that at all, actually. Same thing with that. These are not even being used. But so that's it for the sneak attack. I think that was the longest one of everything. So the next thing is Flee. This is going to give all the buffs just like Perfect Dodge, so we'll add a state of Flee. Evasion, magic evasion. We'll look at the states after all this. You know, easy, 10 instant ability, 10 cooldown, all allies. That's the only thing right there. So trick attack. We're also giving the description, letting the player know, you know, distract, sneak attack, then trick attack, or hide, and then hide, attack, and trick attack. Oh, that's how it works, right? You have to hide and then attack, and then once they've been hit, they've been ambushed, then you can trick attack to finish a combo. Right. So I even put it in there for my own sanity, so I can remember the combinations myself. So we're also removing the state of ambush, just like we did with sneak attack. We removed the state of, what was it? Distracted as well. Adding multiple elements. If you're using Yanfly's element core, I'm making sure that trick attack is also piercing damage, physical and piercing. Custom damage formula similar to the sneak attack. If the target is state affected by ambushed, we're going to give them attack times 6, agility times 6 for the damage formula. Also removing ambushed after it's done. Otherwise, the value is attack times 2 plus agility times 2. So it's kind of like a basic attack if you don't have them ambushed. And that's it, 10 cooldown, and that's the whole setup. So Mug, it's just like Steel. The only difference from Steel and Mug is this one has a damage formula. So that's it. To just do the same thing, Steel, no tag, instant, cooldown of 10, custom animation, 1 enemy, HP damage. You know, give it your basic damage formula, and there you go. Hide is going to add a custom state of hide, and we'll look at the states after all this. Instant, cooldown of 10, scope on the user. It's because it's going to basically make sure that your next attack will inflict ambush. So you hide, and then you attack. They're ambushed, and then you trick attack, and then that's the combination right there. Collaborator, this needs to be, I thought I set it to instant, right? Did I not set that to instant, or was it Conspirator was the one I didn't set? Okay, so we're going to fix that. But this one, I even went easier with this one. This is just adding a straight debuff, or adding a straight buff to the party. So that one is pretty simple. You don't even need a state for that. Just gives all allies a 5-turn attack buff. You could make a state for that if you want to. Accomplice, the same thing, add an agility buff to the party. So these are real simple. Instant, cooldown of 10. I changed these completely to work completely different away from the how it works in aggro, you know, and how much in MIDI you have, because it doesn't work like that in MV, so I've made them just party buffs, just to give the thief, you know, some extra, you know, weight in the party. Make them not so much a solo, but actually a party damage dealer. Assassin's Charge just adds 2 swings. This is an easy state. We'll look at it. Instant, 10 cooldown the user. Feint, scope the enemy, add the state of Feint. Instant, 10 cooldown. This is a debuff. It's just going to affect the parameter, the SP parameters. Evasion, magic evasion, etc. But it also, no, okay, Despoil is the one that attacks. So Despoil is just like Mug, but this is going to actually add the state of distracted. So it's just like you have Steal, which takes an item. You've got Mug, which attacks and takes an item. Then you've got Despoil, which attacks, takes an item, and inflicts the state of distracted. So you've got like 3 tiers, and they're split up, and they're given throughout the thief's level cycle. So conspirator needs to be instant, so we'll go ahead and change this to instant. And we also want to give it a cooldown of 10, so that'll be fine just like that. And Conspirator is just going to add a state that gives accuracy to the all allies battle screen, custom animation, all that stuff. Simple stuff. Let's jump over to the states and look at those states. So perfect dodge, XP parameter, evasion plus 100%, magic evasion plus 100%, critical evasion plus 100%, and the extra parameter agility times 130, which will give you about a 30% buff to your speed. I'm also doing animated SV enemy, or that plugin too, but state effects plugin, or animated state effects. I forgot the name of it, I'm sorry. But it's a state animation note tag in there. There's something with states. That's going to make an animation play when you have that state. The animation I'm using, 421, is too large, and I will resize it after this episode. So the next state, flee. Similar thing, just adding XP parameters. 5 turn, turn end. Set all these to turn end. If you do action end, it won't work because you'll do an instant move and then do another instant move, and it's going to take away. It's basically just do a turn end if you're using this system. Remove at the end of battle. Up to you if you want to leave it that way. Priority doesn't really matter. Evasion rate 20%, magic evasion plus 20, critical evasion plus 20. Now you notice we're not using plus 120 because you only do the 100 to make it a buff above 100 when you do a multiplication. So all the XP parameters, they're saying add a certain amount. And on some things like element rates, they're saying multiply by a certain amount. So if you wanted to make them take more damage from fire, you would multiply it, let's say 25% more fire damage you wanted them to take, you would have to multiply times 125. So that would add more to it. But say you wanted to give them 25% extra evasion rate, you would say plus 25%. Hopefully that's clear. A lot of you already know that. So hide is the next thing. Add a state of ambushed. And that's it. So we'll look at the state of ambushed after right now, actually. Where did I put ambushed? Here's ambushed. Okay. So this is a blank state because all you're doing with this state is checking to see if in the damage formula of other skills to see if they have the state. The state doesn't do anything itself, but it's there so that we're using it as like a tag or a note tag. So basically, it lets us check and code if the enemy has this state on them, so that because the state isn't really doing anything except being there, so that when we issue an attack like trick attack or sneak attack, then it knows that, okay, it's been ambushed, so deal more damage, so you have an else handler in the value of the damage formula, if that makes sense. So nothing crazy on this, just make it last for a couple turns, remove it at the end of battle, and that's it for how ambushed and distracted really works. Assassin's Charge, very, very easy. Make it last for 1 turn, remove it at the end of battle, attack times +2. Means your next turn, you're gonna get a couple extra swings out of it. So it's just like, use this right before you're gonna do an attack combo, and it's also a cooldown and instant, so you can use it and then bam bam. It doesn't take your turn to use it, so it doesn't feel like a useless skill. Feint, easy skill, easy state as well. 5 turns, turn in, remove at the end of battle. XP parameters, evasion rate -50%, magic evasion -50%, because remember, this isn't being applied to the user, this is being applied to a target. So the thief will be able to feint one enemy and then reduce their evasion and magic evasion. Really, really cool skill. It's simple, super easy. Conspirator, same thing, remove it at the battle's end, turns 5 end, turn end 5 turns. Oh my god, words. And this is just going to be XP parameter hit rate plus 50%. That's all it does. It's just going to go to the party. I think, did I do that? All allies? Yes. Okay, it goes to the party, gives everybody. That's basically it. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one last time. So all the skills and stats that you've got already set up, Level 1 is perfect dodge, 5 is steal, 15 sneak attack, 25 flee, level 30 is trick attack, 35 is mug, 45 is hide, 55 is collaborator, 65 accomplice, 75 assassin's charge, 75 feint, 77 despoil, 87 conspirator, and I would say add another one of your own, or 2 or 3, 4 up to 87 to 99. Maybe give the main reason this doesn't have a lot of super crazy attacks because limit bursts are going to be a thing, and the thief is going to have a lot of access to a lot of limit bursts, depending on what items they get out of the Gashapon system and the luck they draw. It's the luck of the draw type of game anyway. But that's it. I thought this would be a 20-minute class spotlight. It turned into a 40-minute class spotlight. That's fine. Some of them are an hour, and I'm sure when I get to the Red Mage, which is probably next, it's going to be even longer. So hopefully you guys enjoy these class spotlight videos. I'm going to separate them into a playlist pretty soon so that we've got less videos in the main playlist, and we've got other playlists that are relevant because it's getting like there's too many videos in one. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Smash that like button if you like. Share with your friend if you think someone will find this interesting. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here if you want to. I've got RPG Maker MV tutorials. I've got Game Maker Studio 2 tutorials. I do first impression videos, play people's video games. Yeah, I've got a Patreon if you guys are interested in backing me. I really appreciate your support. It'll increase frequency of tutorials. Anyway, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.